I want you to welcome three good men here. This is Adam, Brad, and Tony. And Adam is the former hockey player who serves as the chaplain of the Jets. Set these guys up and explain what they do for the New York Jets, Adam.
Well, first of all, I just got to say, what do you guys think about this guy kind of trying to make us look bad, wearing a tie and all that stuff, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, just members of the Jets here, good friends, but more than that, followers of Jesus Christ.
I told them I'm from Nashville, and they quickly told me that they won the game this year. You know, so these guys didn't give me any slack on that one. Adam, let me start with you, and I want you to help me just talk to these men because you played professional hockey. Talk a little bit about your background in hockey, because I love the fact that Adam's actually a pastor now with Ron. I loved it when Adam became a pastor, because when being a hockey guy and being pretty tough, when he took up the offering, it was serious. It's like, you better give, I'm coming after you, I'm gonna check you, so.
Well, you know what I love is just so much that we're talking about the gospel tonight, and the gospel is really what I'm passionate about, and it's kind of interesting. This may sound crazy, but I played just down the road in Philadelphia for the Philadelphia Flyers, and it was interesting. You know, I had some great times there, but just recently I have to, you know, occasionally I have to speak to some athletes or other men, and so I needed to get some bio information about my career, and I'm not the techie guy, the internet or anything like that, and so I was searching the internet for maybe some highlights, and so I went to the Philadelphia Flyer website, and as I went on there, it says Adam Burt highlights. I got to admit, I got a little full of pride a little bit, so I was like, I got to check this out. I must be scoring a goal, or maybe I'm checking somebody, and so I click on the highlight, and it shows me absolutely getting this guy beating me up right to the ground, and I was like, no, that's not my highlight. Oh, and so, but really the Lord spoke to me in that, and I said, you know what, that is all our highlights before a holy and a righteous God. And so it says even our good works is as filthy rags before him. And so that was my story.
Or a picture just what before Christ is getting tore up from the floor up. I mean, just getting beat up.
Yeah.
Tony, talk about fullback.
Fullback.
New York Jets. Yeah. You guys have got. It seems like y'all are excited. It's a young team. Just talk about from being an athlete. Just talk about your faith a minute. Just talk about, you know, have you been a Christian for years? Have you rediscovered your faith? Just talk about your journey for just a moment.
Yeah, my journey is a little different. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany, so football really wasn't a big part of my life. And like we talked backstage, football in Germany is soccer. So football in my life really wasn't a big deal. Traveled around, made it back to the United States in 1985. Came to a small town in Daleville, Alabama. We had, I think, currently still have 2 traffic lights, 22 kids on the football team.
Dairy Queen.
No Dairy Queen.
Okay,
yeah, we do have a McDonald's.
Okay.
But you know, coming into a new environment and really wanting to fit in. And so in order to fit in, I said, you know, I need to go out for sports, and never really played organized football. My buddies were playing, and I ended up joining the team, and you know, it ended up, my high school coach said, if you work really hard and you do the right things, there's a good chance you can make it. So kind of fast forward, you know, I played 4 years at Auburn University. And there was that time that comes around where, you know, guys get drafted into the National Football League. And so I'm like, you know, God, if this is what you want me to do, you have to make a way. Obviously, I'm, you know, putting my faith and my trust in you. And the first day goes by, and that's normally the first and second round. I don't get a phone call, but I'm like, okay, you know, maybe the second day everything will be great. Second day goes by, all day long, sitting in front of the television, and I don't get drafted. And I remember it was devastating because I put a lot of time and effort into, you know, playing professional football. A lot of my buddies, one of my buddies got drafted, Wayne Gandy, in the first round. A guy I blocked for in college, James Bostic, was drafted in the third round. And here I am training with these guys, working with these guys, and I don't get drafted. And I remember going back to my room and just praying. I said, God, if this is what you want me to do, that you have to do it because my way didn't work. And, you know, it's been a blessing. Now, 16 years later, you know, I'm still in the National Football League, and my message is that it has nothing to do with me. You know, God is the reason why I'm able to still do what I'm doing at such a old age. I have to still dye my hair to kind of hide the grays, but you know, 37 years old, guys that were
16 years in the league.
16 years.
That is huge.
The average career is 2 years in the NFL. This man, 16 years.
16 years.
Yeah.
Not to try to top you, but we had Daryl Green down in Nashville.
No,
Remember,
Daryl played for a long time.
He was 20.
Yeah.
He is ageless, but 16 and you're still going, so you can probably catch Daryl.
Definitely.
Not on the field, but you can catch him.
I don't think I can catch him. He was playing 20 years. I don't think I want to play. But, you know, the thing about it is when you talk about my faith, I remember I was in Kansas City, and there's a good friend of mine who actually works for the New York Jets right now by the name of Dave Zott. And Dave, at the time of my life, he really didn't know where I was spiritually. I was attending a different church, and he invites me out to his church. And he says, hey, brother, would you like to come and visit my church? And it was a revival. And the pastors that were speaking was Bishop T.D. Jakes and Bishop Eddie Long and my pastor, Stephen Houp. And we're sitting on the second row. And
y'all had a revival.
It was a real revival.
Yeah,
and my pastor was speaking. And I remember there's been many times before where the pastor said, if there's anyone here that needs to rededicate their life, if there's things in their life they need to get, you know, kind of cleaned up, you know, do it now because you know tomorrow's not promised. And I remember hearing that so many times before, and as an athlete, with pride, you feel like, man, if I go up there, you know, people are going to judge me, people are going to look at me differently. And I remember that night, I didn't care if there was one person in the church or if there was 1,000 people in the church. And I remember going up in front of the church and just giving it to God and said, God, you know what, I've tried it my way, failed miserably, and I want to turn it over to you. And I thank God for Dave Zott of having a mentor in my life that, you know, really showed me the way. And just a simple thing, he just invited me to come to his church. And I remember going, and it totally changed my life, definitely.
Great. Now, I'm gonna put you guys on the spot, but I want y'all to help my man Brad here. I want y'all to talk a little bit about it. I could ask him a question, but I can tell there's something very special about this guy. Why don't you kind of just maybe give some anecdotes before I ask him a question about Brad so people get to know him a little bit better.
Well, one thing you don't know, this is the amazing thing about the gospel of Jesus Christ is that we can be reconciled because Smitty here went to Ohio State and I'm from Michigan, and they are arch rivals.
I'm from
look
Ohio.
at this. Well, look at this.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go.
You know Chris Sanders?
No, I'm from Ohio. I didn't go to Ohio State.
Okay. I'm just a chaplain. Give a shout out to my man from Ohio State, brother.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I can tell you about Brad, I grew up in, obviously playing in Kansas City for a number of years, and this young man lit it up. You're talking about a guy from the quarterback position. Now he's a wide receiver for the New York Jets, but you're talking about from the quarterback. And I remember coming home, you know, Friday after practice, Saturday evening, I was like, man, I got to turn on Mizzou because I want to see what Brad Smith is going to do today. And you know, this guy is he's a real deal. But you know, think about Brad. Obviously, he was a great quarterback, a great athlete, great football player. But he's a strong man of God and you know, a great friend of mine.
Very good, Brad. Talk about your faith. You obviously love the Lord, and for somebody watching that just is trying to figure out how they can, it's like, boy, Lord, I love you too if you let me play for the Jets, you know. Yeah. But really, what you guys have done is you had that love, and yet God, and this was His purpose for you. But just talk about how you found God and how He found you would be a better way of saying it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a remarkable story. I mean, for me, it wasn't, you know, the giving off drugs or coming off the street. I was the kid in church that was kind of passed out on the front row, sleep, you know, my mom's lap. Just always in church, always grew up in there, always heard the word of God and had it spoken over my life, the prophecies, the words. And, you know, even growing up, you know, I would go, but I didn't have it in my heart. You know, I knew it. I can quote the scriptures. I can, you know, lead a testimony service and do all that kind of thing. But, you know, it was just kind of out of ritual, just seeing people do it. And not until college is when I really decided to sit down and learn what I was believing in, learn what I was trying to put forth out there. And it was because of my roommate. He was reading his Bible. I wasn't reading it, you know, every day or every week. And seeing him read it and seeing him, what it meant to him, what life it gave him, I decided to do it. And I read and I learned. And it was a game against Texas my senior year.